MAGA Congresswoman Lauren Boebert has run into trouble with the law again. Yes, Beetlejuice Bobert, who of course we know has a history of misbehaving, we can call it that, in public places, in certain theaters, that is having another run-in with law enforcement. Yes, Lauren Boebert, the same MAGA Congresswoman, it's such a shock, who helped incite an insurrection and attacks democracy daily, who doesn't believe in the rule of law, isn't always great with the law. What a shock that is. The person supporting a convicted felon is having problems with law enforcement. Again, not a shock, but that's the situation for Lauren Boebert. So let's jump into this article from The Independent detailing Lauren Boebert's latest run-in with the law. MAGA Congresswoman Lauren Boebert was reportedly pulled over for speeding in May and then failed to pay her fine on time, causing her case to be escalated to court. Bobert, who recently won the Republican nomination for the U.S. House in Colorado's 4th Congressional District, was driving on the Vail Pass portion of I-70 westbound in Colorado on May 12th, the Colorado State Patrol told CBS. It was around 10:05 a.m. when she was caught driving 84 miles per hour in her black Mazda CX-50, speeding 19 miles per hour over the 65 mile per hour speed limit. As a result, the Republican was issued a $174.50 ticket with no other charges on her citation, State Patrol said. Colorado's Department of Revenue mandates that tickets must be paid off within 20 days of the violation to prevent the citation from being sent to court. If a ticket is more than 40 days old, the department says it can no longer accept payment, and the case will be referred to court. Court records seen by CBS show that Bobert had her citation referred to an Eagle County court due to a late payment. Now, Drew Sexton, the Congresswoman's campaign manager, confirmed the speeding ticket was eventually paid off on July 3rd. Sexton also told Westword, a Denver publication, that Bobert had sent a check for the ticket, which seems odd, to the Revenue Department rather than paying it through the online system. But the check somehow wound up being sent back to her. The spokesperson said it was unclear why she sent a check rather than using the online system. Yes, quite weird. In quotes, "I don't know what happened before the ticket came to us," an Eagle County clerk told the local outlet. She called and said, "I have a ticket with a court date and need to take care of it." She contacted the court on July 3rd and paid it online. Lauren Boebert, who told ushers at the theater when she was, Beetlejuice, "Do you know who I am?" I bet she was taking a similar tone. The "do you know who I am, all call blah." Yeah, that's Lauren Boebert for you. The court records, continuing on this story, the court records show that the case was closed on July 9th with a plea agreement. This is not the first time, though, Bobert has had a brush with the law over her actions behind the wheel. She recalled another incident from 2016 when she and her husband, driving home after closing up her restaurant, in her 2022 book, My American Life, in a chapter titled Pretty Little Mug Shots. Yes, again, the candidate she's supporting for president, her party's soon-to-be nominee, also a guy with a mugshot. So, yeah, that seems to work out. In order to get home, she said, she had to drive up Stiffen Hills, the steepest and most dangerous road in town. It's a tough drive during the day, but especially so at night, Bobert wrote. There's a tight hairpin turn with no guardrail where plenty of people have had accidents. Some have even died, she wrote. With that in mind, I drove up the hill slowly, but danger was literally around the corner as my front wheel was caught on the edge of the shoulder and the truck slid off the side and flipped into a ditch 15 feet below. Bobert and her husband left the crash site and walked home to call in the incident. When they returned to the scene to meet with a state trooper, he cited her for reckless driving. Months later, Bobert found herself in a position that many parents have faced. She was running late to drop her kids off at school. She admits that she started speeding, again, as she rushed to drop them off, and she got pulled over by a police officer. She soon learned that there was a warrant out for her arrest as she had failed to pay her ticket, the first ticket, for reckless driving on the night she flipped her truck, and she was arrested. In quotes, "This was not a proud mom moment," she wrote. Despite laying out in detail all the extenuating circumstances and perceived injustices that colored her arrest, Boebert does take responsibility for her actions near the end of the chapter. "But when it gets down to it, I don't really have an excuse," she said. "I should have shown up to court. I should have paid the tickets on time. I should have shown the law enforcement the respect they deserve," she wrote. "I should have played by the rules." Now, again, this is Law and Order Lauren Boebert, someone who says she backs the blue. Of course, she also backs Donald Trump, who has been found guilty of 34 felonies. So I'm not sure how pro-law enforcement she is based on that alone. But if we continue to look into the record of Lauren Boebert, her rap sheet, the Republican rap sheet of Lauren Boebert, we find more. And this Denver Post article from 2020 really expanded upon this. And I was pretty shocked, and you will be too. Lauren Boebert's history. Let's read into it. Congressional candidate Lauren Boebert, now again, this was 2020, who often espouses a pro-police, law and order message on the campaign trail, has been arrested and summoned at least 4 times over the past decade, records show. While the 3 arrests and 1 court-ordered summons were for petty crimes, and in one case all charges dropped, Boebert's record is unusually long for a congressional candidate. And I will say again, Donald Trump's is unusually long for a candidate for president. It has become a campaign issue as the Republican from Rifle competes in a highly anticipated contest against Diane Bush in the 3rd Congressional District. Again, this was 2020, which spans western and southern Colorado. Boebert was arrested twice in Mesa County, the article continues, in 2015, as first reported by Colorado Newsline. Bobert was detained on June 20th, 2015, after a verbal altercation with police at Country Jam, a music festival near Grand Junction. Bobert, then 28 years old, allegedly shouted at people detained on suspicion of underage drinking, urging them to flee from police, which caused the young drinkers to become unruly. We got to stop for a minute. So, Law and Order Lauren Boebert was encouraging people, and we don't know exactly what happened. We don't know exactly the case of these supposed underage drinkers, but was telling them to flee police. I think that is similar advice that she has likely given to Donald Trump and her other fans who attended a riot at our Capitol. So it seems like she has a lot of sympathy for criminals, including herself. That's evident. But continuing in the article, while she was being handcuffed for disorderly conduct, Bobert tried to twist away from police. According to deputies' reports, she allegedly shouted that her arrest was unconstitutional, and this is my favorite part of all of this, that she, quote, had friends at Fox News and the arrest would be national news. Wait for it. It did not become national news. Bobert was released from custody and told to appear in court that August, but missed her court date because, as she told the judge, she forgot what day of the week it was. I am now aware today is Friday, she wrote on August 28, 2015, hours after she was supposed to be in court. The article continues. The judge, Craig Henderson, rescheduled for later that year, but Bobert again was no-show at a November 20th hearing. In a handwritten note to the judge, well, that's nice, she did not include a reason for her absence. I apologize, Bobert wrote, for irresponsibly wasting the court's time with this matter. I want nothing more than to be finished with this case, as it is not something I keep on the forefront of my thinking, she wrote. Failing to appear for court also landed Bobert in jail a year later. It just continues. As first reported by the Colorado Times Recorder, Bobert was charged with careless driving and operating an unsafe vehicle after, and this was the previous story, rolling her truck into a Garfield County ditch in the summer of 2016. They were minor traffic charges, but Bobert skipped an October court date. Just really doesn't care for law enforcement, does she? She was booked into the Garfield County Jail on the morning of February 13, 2017, for failure to appear and spend exactly 100 minutes as an inmate before she was released on bond, according to Sheriff's Office records. She later pleaded guilty to the unsafe vehicle charge that she said she did nothing wrong in her book, and the careless driving charge was dropped. Now, That's just really a lot to take in. And you don't need anything more to prove the hypocrisy of Lauren Boebert and her, oh, I'm law and order Lauren Boebert, I respect our police officers. You don't need any more than what we've just said. But that doesn't matter. I'm gonna add one more thing. The cherry on top to this hypocrisy story is that Lauren Boebert, a couple of weeks ago, went on Steve Bannon's podcast, right? And this clip was brought to us by a friend of the show, Ron Filipkowski. So she went on Bannon's podcast to talk about how the 10 Commandments are being implemented in public schools in Louisiana. And Ron gave a perfect analysis of this. I'll play the clip. He said, Bobert, whose son is facing 22 theft charges after breaking into cars and stealing credit cards, says the left opposes putting the 10 Commandments in schools because they don't want children to be taught that it's bad to steal things. Clearly, she doesn't teach her children that it's bad to steal things. Let's play the clip.
So I don't think that it's bad to have something that says honor your father and mother so that you will live a long life. That is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it. I don't think that it's bad to teach children that adultery is something that you should not do. And also listed in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not steal. And maybe the left and some of these politicians are having a meltdown over having that right there listed in our classrooms, thou shalt not steal, is because government hates competition and they don't want our children to realize that that's something you shouldn't be doing.
So again, Lauren Boebert she's done it again. It's happened again. Another run into the law with the law. It doesn't seem like she can escape them. It just seems something she's hell-bent on doing. Breaking the law, conflict with police officers, and supporting criminals. Just that's the Lauren Boebert package. If you watch to the end, make sure to drop a blue heart in the comments so that I know you stuck around and I can thank you for your support. Make sure to subscribe to the Really American channel. And you can also click either, it'll be right here or right here to subscribe to my channel. You can also go to the description and my channel will be linked. And make sure to like this video to support the work that we are doing. And I'll see you next time.